Hi, hello everyone. I am Dr. Jeong Hyun. I am working for Asia Pacific School of Logistics at Inha University. It is very nice to see you. And I welcome to this session of this international conference. This session title is Searching for Ways to Collaborate Under the Pandemic. So we have four presentations today in this session. And the first presentation will be delivered by Dr. Hyun-Yong at Kyung University. The title is A Study on Global Supply Chain Research based on the keywords and network analysis. Please welcome Dr. Hyun-Yong.
Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hyun-Yong of Kyung University. Today, we want to share with you the GVC Global Value Chain and Meta-Analysis result. The topic is the study on global value chain GVCs, research trend based on keyword network analysis. Next. The agenda is, first, the research background. Translate. Okay. Today we already heard 10 times about the GVC global value chain, the precedent speakers. As you see, the GVC global value chain is one of the hottest topic on the in Korea and worldwide researchers. The technology advancement and trade cost reduction by the supply chain management, the multinational companies are finding the new market and new production location to cost down their production cost. So the sorry. When MNCs consider the location, they think about their value chain and their partners' location. Then, as you know, the global value chain means the value chain spread to abroad. So the MNCs make their product in many other countries. In Korea, for example, more than 8,000 companies entered in Vietnam, and more than 500 Korean companies entered in Myanmar for cutting and making and packing the clothes. Next. Next slide. And in Korea side, global value chain is very important matters because Korea wants win the competition with China, Japan, and other developing countries by the production cost. And Myanmar side, Myanmar also the global value chain is very important factors because Myanmar is attracting attention as the next investment destination after China and Vietnam. But as we see the next, the study on global value chain, especially in the global value chain participation, is very rare and conducted recently. And also there are no meta-analysis on global value chain in Korea. With this paper, we want to see the research on global value chain conducted in Korea over the past 20 years. And we also expect and suggest the topic of the research. Yeah, next. This is the literature review about the global value chain. In Korea, the first global value chain related research appeared in 2003 by Im Jong-Duk, and this study suggests that Korean footwear industry and the Saksab industry should participate in the GVC in order to gain the competitiveness in global market. And in Korea, until the early 2000s, research on the global value chain mainly focused on the global marketing strategy of MNCs. That at that time, the global value chain is considered one of the methods to enter the foreign market as the foreign direct investment. And until the mid-2000s, the concept and the definition of the global value chains was not clear, and the research about the global value chain is very few and very rare. Next. Then next. However, since 2006, the research about the global value chain has changed sharply, and the research is focused on the process innovation and cost reduction of manufacturing industry in Korea, such as IT industry and BT industry. And then 2010, the research was expanded to the export and trade value added by use the TIVA, trade value added data of OECD. And finally, recently, many researchers are studying the region-wise Korean companies participate in GVs in the separated industry and analyzing their performance and achievement. Then in particular, research is being promoted under the participation of SMEs, small and medium enterprises in global value chain. So in this study, we did the meta-analysis conducted over the past 20 years in Korea through the big data analysis and keyword network analysis. Next. This is the research methodology. We collected data by the KIS and DBPR, Gyobo bookstore scholars and RISS papers. And we collected the 375 papers and selected 176 papers out of the 375 papers. And the keyword is global value chain, GVCs, and global value chains, etc. and the year is from 2000 and 2020. The all the papers registered in the KCI, and after we collected the papers, we excluded the Geological Society and the Language and Research Society. Then we cleaning the data by the pre-processing data. We made it the dictionary about the designated words, similar words, and negative words, and executed morphological analysis, and we extracted none from the papers. Then we analyzed the data with the trend analysis by year and journals, and analyze the term frequency, and also we executed topic modeling analysis. And finally, we analyzed the semantic network analysis with the LDA analysis. Then next. This is the result of the frequency of the biannual papers of the GVCs. As you see the slide, the 2003 to 2009, there are 1 or 2 or 4 papers in biannual, and the 2010 and from 2010 and from 2015, there are from 3 to 8 papers published in that year. And at that time, until 2015, there are few and rare researches have been executed in that time. And 2055, the research is doubled or tripled at that time, and we divided the pace with the three pace, and after from the 2018, there are more researchers have been executed. The number is 26 and 33, and now the 2020 there are more than 20 papers published to June. So I expected more than 50 papers will be published at this year. Next. And this slide is about the frequency of the by journals. As you see the slide, in Korea, the trade review and customs review and international trade studies is the main journal about the global value chain. And the most the topic of the global value chain is the trade, customs, and the foreign policy and the economic foreign policies. And as you see, there are geology and other the insurance and so on. And there are many journals published about the global value chain. Next. This is the word cloud about the global value chain. We have analyzed the TF analysis and TF IDF analysis. The left side, the TF analysis shows the frequency of the keyword. The keyword is analysis, value added, export, and trade. And industry company research is the main keyword, which is the frequency is the high ranking of the TF analysis. Next slide. This is the table of the TF analysis and TF IDF analysis. The ranking is the TF analysis, value add and export, and trade, and industry, and company is the top ranking of the keyword analysis. And as you see the table, the global value chain analysis focused on the value add and export and trade and industry. And the most part is about the trade and other industry. And next. This is the topic modeling analysis. We separated all the 176 papers and collected the papers with 5 topics. And as you see the result, there are 5 topics is produced. And topic 1 is value added analysis, and topic 2 is advancing to ASEAN, and topic 3 is the cooperation and support for capacity building of the companies, and topic 4 is the countermeasures against the non-tariff barriers, and finally the topic 5 is the FDI, overseas direct investment, value added and comparative advantage. There are, as you see the result, the topic 3 is the biggest the portion is the first portion of the topics. As you see, the 176 papers studied about the capacity building about our companies, and the FDI invest value add and the export value add from the GVCs. Next. This is the keyword analysis. The keyword analysis, as you see, the most important keyword is located in the center. As you see, the value add and analysis, export, and Korea and the company is the most important keyword in the global value chain analysis. The Korea keyword related with China and industry and manufacturing and technology, and researchers analyze the Korea with the China and Korea with the industry, and the value added is the most important keyword in the GVC analysis. The trade value add and country value add and the value added creation is the important topic for the GVC analysis. And also the analysis result, and in case of the company strategy and competitive of the company and the global company is the related keyword in the GVC analysis. And next. Then we divided the papers with the period, and we separated the papers with the 3 stages. First is the from 2003 and 2015. Then we said it the early stage of the GVC, and second stage is the promoting the GVs, and from 2015 and to 2017, and the last is the third stage is the recently study about the GVCs. The content is 43 and 55 and 78 papers analyzes. Next. This is the word cloud of the 3-stage analysis result. As you see, the first stage and second stage and third stage is different to the keyword about the GVCs. Next. This is the table of the keyword analysis. In first stage, the most important keyword is global and industry and production and research and analysis and strategy. The global value chain is ranked the 8th in the first stage. So as you see, the global value chain is not the most important issue in the first stage. And then as you see, the second stage, the ranking is changed. The value add is the top ranked keyword in the second stage, and trade, export, and analysis, and global value chain is the fifth stage in the second stage. And finally, the third stage, the keyword is changed, and analysis, export, and global value chain, and company, Korea, and industry. Trade is the high rank of the keyword. As you see, the global value chain is the sole and main topic in the third stage, and the topic is changed, export, and company, and Korea. The research topic is changed in the recently. Next. We also executed the topic modeling analysis, and the 2003 to 2015, the most popular topic is the automotive industry reorganization. And at that time, the first stage, the global value chain research focused on the certain industry, such as automotive and shipmaking and the most important industry. And the second stage, the topic is changed, and the topic one is supply chain management and cooperation on non-tariff barrier measures, and strengthening the terms of the mutual evaluation, and Korea, China, Japan, material related. And the third stage, the topic is also changed. The Vietnam is on the is ranked the topic one, and the topic 2 is foreign regional investment, and topic 3 is participation in SMEs, and topic 4 is how to participate in division of labor, and topic 5 is the overseas direct investment in China, Japan, and ASEAN countries. And next. As you see, this is the conclusion and application. As you see, as a result of the keyword analysis, the keywords such as product, government, and division of labor, and parts and method were derived from the papers. And we can see the research on the production strategies becoming the important topic at the enterprise level. And we divided the papers with the 3 stages. And in early stage, the GVC research is conducted about the company's global strategy or the industrial strategy. And the automobile and electronic industry is the main concern at the time. And in the second stage, we can see the global value chain research was conducted on the value add and trade value add and export value add in trade and export. And the last, the three stage, we can see that global value chain itself is an important research topic. In addition, it is developed into the plans to participate in the GVCs and the policies and the government role to own the SMEs of Korea. Next. I think this paper is the first study to analyze the research trend and of the global value chain over the past 18 years of domestic research. And also we suggested the further research directions. Through this study, we have learned GVC research has now become the most important research topic, and the research on the research is shifted to the utilize GVCs, and the government policy is very important. Also, we have some limits to the researches. We need to compare the domestic research and overseas researches in the future, and we also need to analyze the global value chain and trend by industry and our target countries. And next, yeah. Yeah, thank you for your listening. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thanks very much, Dr. Hyun-Yong Park. I thought it was a very, very interesting topic. I thought that the result was very impressive. Okay, if any members of this session have any questions, please raise your hand, or you can tap the raise your hand button in the Zoom interface, and then we can have some answers from Dr. Hyun-Yong Park.
Our honorable rector, pro-rector, and professors, and my colleagues from Myanmar and also from Korea, may I wish you all Mangala. I would like to present my research on volunteer management, volunteer motivation, and volunteer retention in Myanmar. This is the case study on We Love Yangon Volunteer Association. Myanmar has been suffering from COVID-19 pandemic since March 2020. At present, this effect is the largest on Yangon. This is the capital city of Myanmar. Since the government's capability to support to COVID-affected people is limited, the role of volunteer associations become crucial. To support the government and to help Yangon people, many volunteers have been trying hard. They sacrifice their personal benefits, even they neglect the adverse effect on their health and their family's safety. Although they are willing to continue their contribution, their motivation cannot be sustained without proper management of executives of their associations. If the executives have been practicing proper and systematic management, volunteers will be motivated under many pressures within many constraints and difficulties. Their motivation will eventually lead to their retention. Now may I present rationale of my study. In Myanmar, volunteer associations have been playing the crucial role for Myanmar people's safety and security regarding their health and economic issues. Various volunteer associations have been contributing to save Myanmar people from COVID-19 effect. Among those things, We Love Yangon is the largest and strongest association supporting not only to people's well-being but also to cities development. We Love Yangon Association was formed on 5th March 2020 in Yangon. In October, it has 4,000 volunteer members. Although its major objective is to contribute with Yangon City Development Committee for Yangon City's development. Its contribution can be seen obviously now in helping Yangon people who are suffering from the COVID-19 effect. since it is not sure when the COVID-19 effect will stop. The motivation of volunteers must be emphasized, and their retention is necessary for Yangon. The major driving force for volunteer motivation would be the volunteer management practices of executive committee members. In We Love Yangon, its volunteer management would be crucial for volunteer motivation. This volunteer motivation is very important for volunteer retention. Thus, this research intends to express the effect of volunteer management on volunteer motivation to enhance volunteer retention by focusing on the case of We Love Yangon Association. Now may I present my research questions. These are the We Love Yangon members motivated at volunteer work? How do We Love Yangon committee leaders at volunteer management practices? How does the volunteer management affect on volunteer motivation? How does volunteer motivation affect on volunteer retention? Here you can see two research objectives. To analyze the effect of volunteer management practices on volunteer motivation. The second one is to analyze the effect of volunteer motivation on volunteer retention. Now may I present research design. There are 30 members of executive committees and 4,000 volunteers at We Love Yangon Volunteer Association. This study focuses only on the perception of volunteer members on their associations, volunteer management, their motivation, and their retention. Thus, the population of this study is 4,000. To identify the sample size, the formula of Yamini 1967 is used in this study as the sample 360 members are randomly selected from We Love Yangon Volunteer Association. Data from 360 sampled volunteers are gathered during 19 September to 24 September of 2020. Questionnaires are distributed to all sampled volunteers, but complete responses are received from only 199 respondents, 55.28% response rate. Descriptive method and analytical method are applied to test the research objectives. Now may I present the concepts of three main variables. The first variable is volunteer management. Volunteer management is the practice of managing the volunteer work for effective contribution of volunteers to reach the association's mission. There are four elements of volunteer management. These are planning, recruitment, training, and support, and recognition. The planning is the practice of volunteer management. This is the process of setting strategies, objectives, and guiding the volunteers to work on the right way for effective contribution to community. With proper planning, volunteers can follow the standards and their actions will be compliant with the team's or association's values and objectives. In general, it seems that management should accept every volunteer applicant because this is voluntary work. However, management needs to set the rules and criteria for recruiting volunteers. If they accept every volunteer, they may do negligent recruiting. This means recruiting the volunteers who have personal interests. Volunteers must have required skills, knowledge, and experience to contribute effectively to community. At least they must have willingness to learn for effective contribution. Thus, good management must screen the applicants to recruit competent, able, and committed volunteers. Information sharing is also important to receive the volunteers from effective sources. Information sharing is very effective to get the awareness from people to involve in voluntary work. Thus, management should be good at information management for recruitment. Volunteer teams management's responsibility is also to provide required training to their members. They also need to try for volunteer cooperation of outsiders to provide relevant training to their volunteers. If the management of volunteer organization provide relevant training, volunteers can take responsibilities without troublesome. Volunteers will decide to put more effort and decide to devote more time for volunteering work. Performance appraisal and recognition is also important for volunteers' motivation. Through appraisal and follow-up, the management can find also the unethical or incapable volunteers. Through this appraising process, they can observe the best practices and standards for improvement of team performance. Volunteer motivation can be upgraded with proper and right recognition of management. Now may I present a little bit about volunteer motivation. Motivation is doing actively at work, and volunteer motivation is volunteers' feeling of enthusiasm and passion at their volunteering work. Thus, for effective contribution, effective cooperation, and good manner of volunteers, their motivation is very important. This motivation will lead to their retention. With motivation, they will believe that they are receiving effective support from management and peers. They are getting relevant information in time, and they are also getting empowerment. Now may I present volunteer retention. In many countries, especially in developing and less developed countries, volunteer retention must be focused due to the needs of their contribution for community during this turbulent time. Throughout the world, citizens are facing various problems. These problems cannot be cured with government's provision alone. The support from volunteer organizations is necessary. Many research found that problem of high volunteer rate of volunteer. This is a high dropout rate of volunteer at volunteering teams. There may be many barriers to volunteer retention. These may be overworkload, insufficient support from management, effective recruiting practices, lack of information sharing, and motivation by themselves. However, since volunteers decided by themselves freely to come to volunteer organizations, other factors except management practices would be minor forces. My research is based on the model of previous research developed by Mutawa 2015. This is the conceptual framework of previous research. From this previous research, I developed this conceptual framework for my study. Volunteer management consisting for practices, planning, recruiting, training, and support and recognition. This volunteer management may affect on volunteer motivation. Volunteer motivation may lead to volunteer retention. Now may I present about analysis part. Here you can see the data reliability. All Cronbach alpha values of variables are greater than 0.7. That's why the data consistency is reliable. Here you can see volunteer management of volunteers of We Love Yangon Association. The executive committee members are practicing right management practices. That's why volunteers perceived that the volunteer management is good at We Love Yangon. And here also it is found that volunteer motivation is high and also volunteer retention is high. This is the result from multivariate regression analysis on effect of volunteer management on volunteer motivation. The three practices of volunteer management, these are planning, recruiting, and recognition, are positively significantly affecting on volunteer motivation. But training and support practice has no significant effect on volunteer motivation. And volunteer motivation has positive significant effect on volunteer retention. This table is resulted from multivariate regression analysis on effect of volunteer motivation on volunteer retention. Now may I present general findings of my research. Volunteers are motivating at We Love Yangon because they believe that the EC members are managing the donations in cash and in kind systematically and ethically. The EC members organized 6 teams donation management team, hospital support management team, accounting and finance management team, volunteering tax management team, general management team, and material management team. The EC members' strict rule is to avoid a conflict of interest. For example, the materials needed for community must not be bought from EC members' businesses, and donation cash and materials must not be used for food and other things required for volunteers. EC members and volunteers must not do directly or indirectly the political members by taking advantage over volunteering. Since Yangon City needs many volunteers, the management's effective network, their background experiences, their commitment, and their effective information sharing are crucial for supplying sufficient number of volunteers to quarantine centers and hospitals. For training and support at present, there is no time for arrangements of training to volunteers during this COVID-19 second wave. And effective management, volunteers can get necessary support for eating, living, and going to necessary places. Government recognizes the contribution of We Love Yangon Association. Thus, EC members can best show appreciation to the outstanding volunteers at the public. Since various organizations and communities appreciate the recommendations of We Love Yangon EC members for volunteering work, the volunteers can gain employment opportunity through volunteering. According to the in-depth interview with one of the EC members of We Love Yangon Association, about 70% of volunteers have strong intention to be dedicated as volunteer for lifelong contribution. Although they are thinking about the probability of adverse effect on the health and quality of life, they understand that Yangon needs their contribution. They know that without their contribution, government may be difficult to rescue the city people from this COVID-19 pandemic. Now may I conclude my presentation. Since We Love Yangon Association CC members are effective and ethical, the volunteers are motivated at their work with belief on their planning, recruiting, and recognition practices. The volunteers' retention at We Love Yangon is depending on the volunteers' motivation within a short period of time. Only secondments from March to September 2020, We Love Yangon Voluntary Association's momentum of contribution to Yangon City's people became very obvious. Even the government recognized the role of this association in implementing the project of fighting to COVID-19 pandemic effect on Yangon City. Findings from analysis on data collected from 199 volunteers of this association pointed out that the volunteer management of EC members of We Love Yangon Association is effective to motivate the volunteers. They will be continuing the volunteering work till the Yangon City people do not need their support. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Okay, we watched a presentation from Professor Myint Ki from Yangon University of Economics in Myanmar. It was about case study on We Love Yangon group. Okay, if you have any questions, please raise your hand, or you can click the raise your hand button in the Zoom. Then we can have some answers from Professor Myint Ki.
Hello.
Yes.
Okay. Good morning, teacher.
Good morning, Doc. Hello.
This is interesting topic because in this COVID-19 pandemic period, our people more rely on a voluntary work. So I want to know, teacher, in your conceptual frame, voluntary management influence on the voluntary motivation. So I want to know which of each level are more interesting of the voluntary work, especially under the 35 years are more interesting. Actually, over the 35 years are more interesting to work for the voluntary work. Thank you, teacher.
Okay. From my findings, according to the result from personal interview with one EC members, one of the EC members, most of the volunteers are between 18 and 35.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you for your question.
Okay, any other questions from the floor or in other places? All right, I don't think there is any. So yeah, it was a great presentation. We enjoyed your presentation very much. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Professor.
Okay, actually, the next presentation will be delivered myself. By myself. Once again, I am Dr. Jeong at Inha University. Actually, I am teaching global logistics to my students, but I am very, very interested in global supply chain and also international business area. And especially some consumers in Southeast Asia, like Southeast Asia, like Vietnam and Myanmar. And this is a part of my research about consumers in Myanmar and also consumers in Vietnam. And I am trying to give some taste about understanding the international consumers from a perspective of supply chain management. So this is about how you can improve our knowledge about foreign markets and then increase our firm's export performance. So, so the title is the antecedents of export firms to gain more market responsiveness. And this is a perspective from small and medium-sized firms targeting Vietnam in South Korea. There are many researchers about talking about advantages and disadvantages with export performance, and there are many also discussions around concluding that the export performance entering the foreign market is about dealing with the market and technological uncertainties. And there is a large consensus that the high risk of failure is caused by demand and technological fluctuations and uncertainty. And my conclusion is that my observation is that the difference between the success and failure is about the management skills and the cultural differences firms have when they enter to the foreign market. So in this study, I would like to find out what kind of organizational skills and management activities are affecting the firm performance, and especially I am focusing on emerging market and Vietnam. So if I summarize my introduction is that so Korean firms need to increase their export performance, but there is a very big changes surrounding global market, and also there are many uncertainties like COVID-19 pandemic. So what I'm saying is that to manage this kind of changes and uncertainty, Korean exporting firms, they need to have some market responsiveness. But we don't know what kind of capabilities need to be preferred for the small and medium-sized firms, especially when they are targeting Vietnam. So I am trying to find out some firm capabilities to increase the market responsiveness in this time of market changes. I am very interested in Myanmar and also Vietnam because they are showing really high economic growth recent years. Especially Myanmar is one of the world's fastest growing countries. In South Asian countries, Vietnam and Myanmar, these are the top countries showing the highest growth rate. And Vietnam is expected to show around 7% of economic growth in 2019 and 2020 as well. And also there are many free trade agreements made with Vietnam. So this became the many number of free trade agreements made with Vietnam has become the financial and economic fundamentals to grow of the Vietnam economy. And also it is enjoying the strategic location based on the Mekong region, like nearby the Thailand and Cambodia, and Myanmar as well, and southern China. It has a huge market to serve. So it has been regarded as a very fundamental factor that support the Vietnam economy. And also compared to the China, the labor cost is very low. According to the World Bank, China's labor cost per hour will reach around $6 per hour, but in Vietnam it's going to be reach around $3, so less than 50% than China. So these kind of things are making the Vietnam market very attractive for large conglomerates and international firms. And I am looking at this market from a perspective of Korean SMEs. And one of the most interesting fact or expectation about Vietnam market is the emergence of the middle class. So more than 50% of the people in Vietnam, they are very young, so they can work. So the working age group is really large, and they show with the fastly growing economy, the consumers in Vietnam, they show very high consumer confidence. And also many international institutions like World Bank and IMF, they are expecting that more than 50% of the Vietnam people will be the middle class from a perspective of the global market soon, like within 15 years. So there will be huge attractions from Vietnam market to the world companies. So to be more responsive in entering this Vietnam market, I am suggesting this kind of direction based on the learning theory. So to enter and to enjoy the growth of the Vietnam market, international companies like Korean small and medium-sized firms, they need to acquire more information and knowledge about the consumers and also the market uncertainties, some issues around market uncertainties in Vietnam. So this learning theory says that if you make more effort to observe, to acquire the market management knowledge about this international market, then even though very small and medium-sized firms, they can get more effective positive learning effect by acquiring more knowledge about this market. And I am adding up some more capabilities like a network capability and relational capability, because not only just knowing the consumer, not only just knowing the market, you need to have some relationships and then collaboration or works with your partners in foreign markets. So by combining this learning theory and this network capability, I am expecting that if you acquire more knowledge about the market, and if you have this network capability, we might have some more increased level of market responsiveness in entering this Vietnam market. So if I summarize this discussion in a research framework, it's going to be like this. So market orientation, learning orientation, and network capability, they are the preconditions for the market responsiveness. And also I am saying that the relational capital, like the collaboration or sharing idea or having some communications with your partners in Vietnam market, will increase the market responsiveness as well. So let me briefly explain the concept of these variables. Market orientation is a kind of organizational culture. So if you have this market orientation, you are you are going to identify some required activities to create more values for your customers. And network capability is about using your inter-firm relationships to gain more information and more access to your market. And learning orientation is that if you have learning orientation, like your CEOs, they will have a high level of commitment to learn and to be open-minded and share the vision with your employees to get more information about the market. And relational capital is about having interactions with local firms or communicate with your local partners, or you can have your you can share your vision with your local firms. So this relational capital is kind of a relationship asset. And finally, the market responsiveness is that if you have this, you can change your company structure, or you can serve your customers more quickly depending on the changes in the market demand. So to test this model, I distributed the questionnaire to the small and medium-sized firms in South Korea, and they are, every of these firms are exporting to Vietnam. They are dedicating Vietnam dedicated firms, and I required more than 106 samples. And this slide shows the some characteristics of the firms. And I would like to say that the data quality is quite good. They are well, the characteristics of the firms are very, very well distributed. And I am using this technique. This is called PLS-SEM. This is very good at identifying this kind of preconditions of the firms, targeting a other variable. This is very useful and simple and straightforward method to identify the reliability of this model. And the every variables in this model shows good confidence. So we can say that the variables are well designed and well tested. And also this slide shows the coefficient analysis. So in other words, it is saying that if the preconditions are affecting the target variable. So this is quite look like very complicated, but if you look at this figure, based on the model I have tested, if these variables are affecting this variable, so identify that if you have these symbols, yeah, then this path is valid. So this figure shows that market orientation affects relational capital, learning orientation affect relational capital like that. But if you look at here, network capability does not affect market responsiveness, and also learning orientation does not affect market responsiveness. So it is saying that the relational capital has got some mediating effect. So I thought that this is a very, very interesting findings. So my finding is that based on the learning theory, market orientation and also learning orientation and also network capability are the very, very important antecedents, the determinants of the market responsiveness. And also, my expectation was quite good because the relational asset, yeah, the collaboration or communication with your local partners positively mediate the preconditions of market responsiveness. So this strongly indicates that the firms who would like to enter and enjoy this Vietnam market, they need to be aware of the effect of the learning effects. And also trade support policies provided by Korean government should be diversified to the export market information sharing. And also I found out that the mediating role of relational capital. So this finding strongly indicates that market responsiveness is not about understanding the consumers in Vietnam. Of course, you need to understand the customers, but also you need to have some relational capital. And relational capital can be acquired by having your partnerships with local intermediaries like wholesalers or logistics service providers or customs. So what I'm saying is that the market responsiveness, when you consider, when you need to improve the market responsiveness, you need to also consider your relational capital, and also the export supporting programs also should provide relational capital related programs for small and medium-sized firms. And also in the age of COVID-19 pandemic, we are having, we are discussing about, many people are discussing about the global value chain, and in the center of the global value chain, there is a China. But after this pandemic, we are looking at more diversified supply base, like China plus one. So many firms are having intention to move their facilities to different places like Vietnam. So to have more market responsiveness and to reconfigure this global supply chain, this kind of new perspectives about relational capital is required. That is my short introduction for the market responsiveness targeting Vietnam from a perspective of Korean SMEs. Thank you for your attention. Do you have any questions? Yes, Professor Min Ki, yeah.
Yes, thank you very much for your quite interesting topic.
Thank you.
I'm really interested in development of SMEs. So I would like to know some examples. If you give me, I will be so happy about learning opportunities your government has been providing to SMEs.
Yes, there are many programs from the Korean government for small SMEs. And we have many different organizations providing that kind of training services, and also some experimental services like, so they provide some financial supports for SMEs to participate in trade exhibitions in Western countries or in Asian market. And also they provide some financial trade financial services as well. And actually, South Korea is very export-oriented country, and there is a long history about the trade supporting programs. And then there is a criticism around this policy because too many organizations, they support too many SMEs, so the services are overlapped. So there is a recent argument about the role of the programs for SMEs. I don't remember every detail of the program, but I have a journal paper about the trade supporting systems, and I categorized that programs to experimental, and also training, and also financial, that kind of classification. There are many examples. If you'd like to, I want to share my journal article about the trade supporting systems. Please, I will get your email after this session, and I will send that journal to you.
Thank you very much, Professor. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, if there is no question, because we are running out our time. It is time to move to our next presentation from Professor Atar Thaung Htet from Yangon University of Economics in Myanmar. The title is Determinants of Uses Intentional Food Delivery Apps for Customers in Yangon. Sounds very interesting. Please welcome Professor Atar Thaung Htet.
မင်္ဂလာပါ Today I would like to present my research paper. The title is Determinant of Usage Intention on Food Delivery App of Consumer in Yangon. I am Thaung Htet, part-time tutor, Department of Management Study, Yangon University of Economics. In my presentation, there are 6 components included in my presentation. The first one is introduction. The second one is rationale of the study. The third is objectives of the study. Fourth is literature review and constructive framework of the study. Fifth is research design and data analysis. And the final one is findings and recommendation. That is the introduction of my research paper. In the introduction session, I would like to present about consumer usage of food delivery application. As you know, in our state, that technology is a major driving force for evolution of business transition, especially in selling and buying activity. Most of the consumer more rely on online to offline platform. For the traditional forms of task and method of business has traditionally changes the virtual network. The advancement of information and communication technology has changed. The business nature, such as marketing, HR, finance, etc., and so on. Advances of ICT has already changed the buying habit of consumer. In our state, real estate, food service, car rental, hospitality service can be seen in online to offline forms. The usage intention of consumer on food delivery application is the critical issue for booming this industry. Those are the rationale of the study. Why I make this research? Those are the key motives for conducting my research. In this study, I mentioned there are 2 main forces for conduct this study. The first one is technology advancement. As you know, in the 21st century, the globalization has always accelerated by the deeply use of information and communication technology. This uses of ICT changes the buying behavior of consumer. In addition, in our state, our world faced a COVID-19 pandemic situation. This situation moved accelerators to consumer for adoption food delivery app. In previous day, however, ICT development in our real world path, we may confuse to adopt ICT technology, but the COVID-19 pandemic situation may force us to encourage in our lifestyle to adopt ICT technology. The key motive for my research is which of the antecedent factors are more affecting the use intention of food delivery app aims, Yangon. Those are the rationale of the study. According to this rationale of the study, in this session, I highlight and present about the why I conduct this research. Those are the reasons for conducting my study. Objectives of the study. As you know, in the research paper, that objectives of the study is very important for every research field. The objectives of the study, especially objectives of the study highlight why you conduct this study. So I want to know and to examine the usage intention of consumer of food delivery app in Yangon. And the second one is to investigate the effect of the dominant factors on usage intention of food delivery app in Yangon. In the research study, in a research paper, the literature review and theoretical background is very important for supporting our research finding. Where analysis, where review literature, where review theoretical, where support surrounding of our research finding. So I would like to present, I conduct my literature review of Vargas Thaung 2012 explore the usage intention on food delivery app of consumer in Yangon. Those of the scholar applying unified theory of acceptance and use of technology, UDA, UD2. This study also analyzes how 7 variables of UDA, UD2. These are the performance expectancy. Performance expectancy means usefulness of ICT tools. Effort expectancy, very ease of use of ICT tools. Facilitating condition. Hedonic motivation means users are very happy to use ICT tools. Habit, social influence and price value influence on continuous usage intention on food delivery app in Yangon. After reviewing this literature and based on the previous research paper, based on the previous literature review, I extracted this conceptual framework for my research study. In this conceptual framework, there are 2 variables for my study: dependent variables and independent variables. So, independent variables come from the analysis of unified theory of acceptance and use of technology to UTA, UT2. In this independent variables, there are 7 variables. Those are the performance expectancy, effort expectancy, facilitating condition, hedonic motivation, habit, social influence, and price value. The dependent variable is the usage intention. According to this conceptual framework, I conduct the causal relationship for my study. Which of the independent variable more influence, more effect on the dependent variable? So, for evidence, my conceptual and my hypothesis, I would like to present my research design. Research design is very important for every research paper because very strongly research design will support quality of research paper. In the research design, I would like to present 2 sessions. The first one is how to make the questionnaire design. The second one is how to analyze the collected data. So the first one is questionnaire design. Questionnaire design is very important for quantitative research, especially in social science research. Because in the social science research, most of the researchers make the survey method for collected data. According to the survey method, questionnaire, strongly questionnaire, reliability questionnaire, validity questionnaire is very important. So I extracted questionnaire from the previous research paper and other scholars specialized in the adoption of ICD, Vargas et al., Sam Martin and Harold, and so on. Other scholars have developed this questionnaire for my study. In this questionnaire, 4 performance expectancy items, 4 effort expectancy items, 4 facilitating condition items, 4 hedonic motivation items, 4 habits items, 4 social influences items, 4 price values items, and 6 behavior intention items. Another research, in the second part of the research design,
I mentioned the method of the study. In the method of the study, I contrasted the scope and method of the study. I represent how to make the sample size, how to collect the data, and how to analyze the data. So, firstly, I would like to present and calculate how the sample size is. Sample size is very important because we are not affordable for collect the data to the whole population because it's very costly, it's very time saving. So I make the sample size as 150H respondent. So that sample size of 150H respondent, who is the familiarity use of ICD, especially food delivery app in the Yangon. Which of the technique is used to collect the data? In my study, I use the systematic random sampling method for collect the data. And then how to analyze my collected data? That is very important for all audience and for all other scholars want to know. So I analyze the data. There's three methods. The first one is descriptive analysis. Descriptive analysis can highlight mean value, standard deviation, and so on. Which of the variable, which of the statement is more preference for the consumer, and reliability analysis can mention how reliability for each questionnaire, how reliability of each questions, and the multiple linear regression analysis. As you know, the multiple linear regression analysis also used to analyze the causal relationship research. In my research paper, there are 7 independent variables and 1 dependent variable. So I would like to use multiple regression analysis in order to analyze the relationship between 7 independent variables and 1 dependent variable. This table highlights for every statement, for every variable, means value, standard deviation, cover error, and so on. As you see, in amount of the independent variables, the effort expectancy has the highest mean value. That highlight most of the respondents, most of the consumer are more preference for use food delivery app because they perceive this food delivery apps are easily used. And among of these 7 independent variables, price value has the lowest mean value. That highlight most of the respondents perceive in Myanmar currently, Myanmar food delivery application has lower discount, has lower free delivery charges, and so on, especially price value item. In the usage intention, the main value of usage intention is 3.2. That's main. Most of the consumers are more likely use beyond a neutral scale. That is the regression analysis table. This analysis table is used to analyze the relationship between determinant factors and usage intention. According to this table, performance expectancy and price value have positively significant relationship with usage intention of food delivery app. So, in my research study, according to this analysis, regression analysis, descriptive analysis, I see that there are 2 findings. These 2 findings based on the 2 objectives of my study. The first one is usage intention of food delivery is more likely above the neutral scale because this finding, I think technology advancement and social factors were both for this finding. As you know, in our state, in our society, technology, ICT2 is very advancement, and in our family, in our co-worker, in our college, are more likely use ICT tools. So most of the respondents are more likely to use ICT tools. I think technology advancements and social factors are mainly key driver for usage intention of the food delivery application. The second objective of the study is to investigate antecedent factors of usage intention of food delivery app in Yangon. So according to these objectives, we have the findings that performance expectancy and price value have positively significant relation with usage intention of food delivery app in this study. So this finding highlight the usefulness of application. That means how it's very useful, this application for the consumer. The consumer use the food delivery app when making purchase food delivery item from the online. That is more very effective, that is more very convenient, that is more very efficient. And then most of the food delivery providers are very competitive in the market. So they offer more discounted items. They offer more free delivery charges. That costs the cost saving for the consumer. That costs us the getting the discount for the customer. Are the major driving force for use the food delivery application. So according to this finding, I make the two recommendations from my study. In my study, I conduct the recommendation for not only academic fee but also practical perspective. From the academic perspective, unifying theory, acceptance, use of technology to model should also use to examine the buying behavior of consumer by adding another antecedent factor such as personal innovativeness, information quality, and so on. As you know, UDA, UD2 model have the several independent variables. If the model have very comprehensive view, the literature is very strong. If the literature is very strong, that is more contributed to the society. That's I think. Another recommendation based on the practical perspective. This recommendation were applied in the real fee, practical fee, food delivery application, food delivery service provider take account this recommendation for upgrade their software, their application in order to compete in the certified market. So I made a recommendation about this. The food delivery service provider should more upgrade their application for most easy of use, for more convenience, for more effective, and also more food delivery service provider also move discounted item for the consumer to attract the customer by making their food delivery product item by applying food delivery application. So that is my research. After finish of this my research, as you know, this research I think. I hope, I believe this finding and this recommendation can also contribute to the market and also contribute to the society and also contribute to the academic. That all of my presentation. Thanks for your attention and goodbye.
All right, thanks very much. It was very interesting topic. It's about the button, raise your hand button. Actually, I have a question. So I know that this is not positively affecting the use intention. You had hedonic motivation, yeah, hedonic motivation, yeah, for the antecedents. but it is not affecting the use of intention positively. Yeah. Can you explain me the meaning of the hedonic motivation, please?
Yes. Okay. In Myanmar, most of the consumers are not familiar with the advantage of ICT tools. They would like not happy use the advanced ICT tools. That is, I think, according to our culture, according to this culture, I would like to have very happy to use the advanced ICT tool because we are more familiar with the traditional method. That is the major rationale for conduct my research because in this COVID-19 period, no people cannot choose to purchase the food delivery item by using the traditional method. They use the food delivery food item by using the applying food delivery application. I think because why hedonic motivation not affect on the usage intention, I think most of the people I would like to not happy to use the food delivery app.
I see. Okay, it's good. Yeah. Thanks very much. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Any more questions do you have? All right. If there is no question, I would wrap up today's session of searching for ways to collaborate under the pandemic. I think we had a very a valuable time to share our ideas with this Zoom in different places. So I would like to meet you up next time in Zoom or in real face-to-face conference together. Okay, thanks very much.